Hey friends, this is Michael Boehm with Youth Apologetics Training. Today, it's Monday, and we are 5 days away from the end of the world. Oh boy. Okay, so anyway, if you're listening to this in the future and you're wondering what's so funny, we're almost to December 21st, the day that everybody thinks is the end of the world. So we're going through this series on the ancient astronauts, and I'm tacking on to the end of this series this strange viewpoint that is found amongst some circles in Christianity about fallen angels masquerading as aliens, which on one hand sounds completely bizarre and totally out of place. On the other hand, the Bible does say that Satan and his ministers would be disguised as ministers of righteousness, and we also know that Satan is a deceiver. So even though I don't necessarily believe with this viewpoint, I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage of this series and present it anyway, because I know a lot of you guys are fascinated by it, and just kind of give you this other side of the story. And I'll interject when I find things that I don't agree with. So nonetheless, I'm just kind of riding the fence on the issue. I don't agree with it, but nonetheless, I suppose there are some parts of it that are very possible. Satan is good at what he does. He is a deceiver. And so anyway, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Like I said, these angels, according to the Bible, were chained in prison. They were thrown in some kind of a prison. And so looking at the non-inspired book of Jubilees, chapter 5, verse 6, it says, "And against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly wroth, and he gave commandment to root them out of all of their dominion. And he bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth. And behold, they were bound in the midst of them and are kept separate." Okay, same idea, thrown in some kind of a prison that's in the earth. Enoch chapter 10, verse 11, "And the Lord said unto Michael, Go bind Simjaza." Simjaza or Simyaza, I've heard it both ways. According to the book of Enoch, is one of the fallen angels. There's several that are mentioned in the book of Enoch. I can't remember their names, like Simyaza, Azaziel, or Raphael. Anyway, Simyaza is one of them. "Bind Simyaza and his associates who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, check that out, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to torment in the prison in which they shall be confined forever." Now, compare that to Jude. This is the inspired biblical book. So we're back to reality here. Compared to Jude, chapter 1, verse 6, because there's only one chapter in Jude. "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." 1 Peter 3, verse 19 and 20, "By which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometime were disobedient, when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah." Okay, interesting, right? That the days of Noah is brought up in this verse, when once the long-suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a-preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. Okay, just coming back to my position here, all right? Let's come back to writing the fence. Jude 1:6, it's clear that yes, the angels that kept not their first estate, that would be the fallen ones. They left their own habitation, which would be heaven, and they have a place for them in everlasting chains under darkness to the day of the great judgment, or the judgment of the great day. In 1 Peter 3:19 and 20, it doesn't necessarily say angels. Okay, it says the spirits in prison. All right, so I just wanted to make that distinction because it's not, you can't link those two together definitively. All right, so just trying to keep a level head on this. So let's change gears here and look at another aspect of this theory. The idea that angels were put in charge of various areas or regions on the planet. And this is fairly widely accepted amongst these same circles that believe that fallen angels are masquerading as aliens. And so I wanted to bring this into the conversation. There might be a little bit something to the angels were given charge over certain areas. Who gave them charge? That's a whole nother question. Did God give them charge over these different nations, or is this something that Lucifer did later in kind of a militant style to try to corrupt different parts of the planet? Well, let's keep going. Another one of the scriptures that they will point at, some will, and I mentioned earlier this divine council idea. Well, some of that concept comes from this psalm, Psalm 82, verses 1 through 8. It's the whole psalm. And here's the thing. Okay, God is addressing a group of somebody, some beings, okay? Let's just put it there. He calls them gods, Elohim, multiple times. And Mormons love Psalm 82 because one of the doctrines of Mormonism is that man may become a god if they follow godly precepts, the precepts laid out in the Book of Mormon, and, well, more so, the Doctrine and Covenants. Then they can become gods. And conversely, God was once a man. Okay, so they love this psalm because here we have the Father addressing a bunch of other Elohim, other gods. All right, the traditional interpretation of this is that God is addressing a bunch of judges, magistrates, men of high position, high authority, and he is, well, as I read through the scripture here, you're going to hear God's pretty angry, okay, at whoever these beings are. But from the fallen angels Christian crowd, I shouldn't have said it that way. You guys know what I'm talking about. From this group that we've been talking about, they see this as a group of angels who were given dominion over different parts of the earth. So I'm going to read it, and you guys tell me what you think. It says, a psalm of Asaph. By the way, Asaph is one of the musicians under David and Solomon. But anyway, it says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. Now, the King James Version, the G for gods is lowercase. Just thought I'd throw that in there. But that word gods is Elohim. Verse 2, how long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. all the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods. There it is again. And all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. O rise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Okay, so there it is. You guys, I guess, draw your own conclusion there. I'm leaning towards that's talking about magistrates. Okay, but nonetheless, let's face it, it does say Elohim twice. These people are being addressed as, or these beings, I should say, are being addressed as Elohim. One thing we do know, the Mormons have it wrong, okay? God, I can't even tell you how many times in the Bible says he alone is God. There is no God formed before him, neither shall there be a God formed after him. He alone is God. And it says that over and over and over in the Bible. I think one of them is Isaiah 43:10. Okay, God is pretty clear on that. So who are these Elohim? Is it God speaking to men in kind of an elevated fashion, really making them feel like big, mighty men because maybe that's how they see themselves? Or is God talking about or talking to angels? I guess it could go either way, and I don't have a huge problem with it. Look at this, all right? And this, Daniel chapter 10, verses 10 through 13, and also 10:20, there does seem to be something interesting going on there about fallen angels, or at least demons of some kind, being put in charge by Lucifer, being put in charge of certain areas. So there is something to that, like I was saying. It says, and behold, an hand touched me. This is when Daniel had been fasting for 21 days, praying, trying to get some word from the Lord. And so going on, which set me, this hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, and understand the words that I speak unto thee. Wow, I'd love to hear that from God or an angel. Greatly beloved. And so going on, and stand upright, for unto thee I am now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard. And I am come for thy words, but for the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me. Wait, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Okay, there's so much here in this passage. Okay, first of all, it talks about this prince of Persia, all right? Prince of the kingdom of Persia. And just so that you might not be tempted to think that that's a human, I don't see how a human could really withstand an angel. But then they have Michael being referred to as a prince as well. All right, so that's very interesting. So this angel, this being, this demon, whatever it was put in charge of Persia. Okay, and then the next thing that I want to point out here is, this kind of messes with my head a little bit. You always kind of think, or at least I always thought, of angels just kind of being able to materialize wherever they wanted. So God would send them somewhere and they'd kind of poof, and there they'd be. But look at this. We have this concept of, he was dispatched, this is Gabriel, by the way, not the Gabriel that brought the Quran to Muhammad. I'd call that a demon or a fallen angel, but if Muhammad actually received it from a being in the first place, and he just didn't make it up. But anyway, wow, I digress. You have Gabriel being dispatched 21 days earlier. It takes him 21 days to travel, however that looks, however that works out, 21 days to travel from where he was to where Daniel was. So one thing we at least know, the angels can't just poof and show up. Okay, they actually have to travel. They have to move from one location to another. And so as a side note, but not really a side note, some of the proponents to this whole fallen angels posing as aliens theory or movement see these saucers, these ships, these UFOs, they're unidentified, they are flying, and they're objects. They see those as basically craft that these fallen angels have constructed, because apparently I guess it's believable that they're a lot smarter than us, and they most likely have understanding of technology that we don't, possibly. Okay, it is kind of a stretch to say that, but not necessarily. They believe that these fallen angels have built craft to get around, to move around a little faster. Okay, that's their theory, not mine. But moving on to Daniel chapter 10, verse 20, look at this. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? This is Gabriel talking. And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. Okay, so he's going back. Apparently, Michael was fighting with this prince of Persia, but I guess didn't get the job done. I don't know. He's got to go back and fight with the prince of Persia. And then going on here, and when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece shall come. What? Okay, so see what I'm saying? There does seem to be something to that. I guess the big million-dollar question is, did God appoint these angels to their position, or did Satan? That's the question, isn't it? Or both. Maybe God appointed some angels to positions around the planet, and Lucifer responded in kind by appointing his own fallen ones to different various places on the earth. I don't know. Kind of fun to think about. I don't know. Okay, so with that view in mind, let me read Ephesians 6, verse 12 to you, just keeping that in mind. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right, so people from this perspective, Christians will look at this Ephesians 6:12 and say, this actually is referring to, we are wrestling with not human beings here. We are wrestling with these rulers, these principalities, these rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay. Guys, let's go ahead and stop right there. Come out to the website, youthapologeticstraining.com. And there, guys, you can leave comments and questions. I do want to talk to you. Also, you can catch me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. And with that, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.